So what was the thought process behind a blockchain specifically focused on supporting games? Like, what was the problem there that you were really trying to solve? What is like the benefit in your mind, at least, for putting games fully on chain? Is it just about security, transparency, assets? Like, what is like the most important part of wanting to put games on chain? How does that bring value for you? I'm seeing that with Grand Theft Auto right now. Like, I never thought I'd hear negative reviews of Grand Theft Auto coming out, or people are just complaining about the price at this point. Like, there's always like a polarized aspect to social media, and that's very, very true when it comes to games. What's the big shift that you see happening in the next 5 years in terms of gaming and Web3, however you see that? What's up, EJ? Welcome to Chain Reaction. Thank you so much for being here, man. I want to just jump right in, and I want to learn more about you, what you do.
Sure.
So if you can introduce yourself for our audience and tell them a little bit about your background and how you got into crypto, that would be a great way to kick it off.
Yeah, happy to be here, Feroz. Just a little bit about, myself. I'm EJ Ayala. I'm the head of partnerships at Ex Populus. I'm also a core contributor to XAI blockchain, which is a gaming network on the Arbitrum ecosystem.
Yeah, awesome. So let's just start right here, right? So you work as head of partnerships for Ex Populus, which is a gaming studio, correct?
Yeah, Ex Populus actually started out as a video game development studio. So we have a couple games that we were building. One of those games is slated to come out by the end of this year, which is called Final Form, and we're super excited about it. We actually have a lot of really elite talent working on that particular game that we're excited to showcase.
Awesome. Okay, cool. All right. So, and the main topic of conversation is technically XAI or XAI Games. Do I call it XAI or is it XAI Games? One of them correct?
You've heard it probably both ways, but XAI itself is also just the name of the token, but the XAI blockchain is primarily a gaming chain. So I know, like, for example, on socials, our account is like XAI_games, and we primarily work on games, and we also do some stuff with like consumer apps as well. So
okay, awesome. So I guess let's just dive into that rabbit hole. So it's called XAI. It's referred to as XAI Games. Pretty colloquially. Like that's how I've always referred to it.
Exactly.
Games. So what exactly? What problem was XAI or XAI Games actually designed to solve? Because I know we've talked about gaming in Web3 for years, right? A lot of like play to earn gaming was the biggest hype. That's really where a lot of the attention got started. We know there's been a lot of negative connotation to gaming connected to blockchain and NFTs and tokens, like in the traditional gaming community. It didn't have a great reception. And this has been a few years now. And there's been a lot of shifts in mentality in the crypto space as well as in the gaming space. So what was the thought process behind a blockchain specifically focused on supporting games? Like, what was the problem there that you were really trying to solve?
Yeah, I mean, to start out, we actually didn't set out to become a blockchain and create XAI. I think there was a lot of people in this industry that wanted to create blockchain because it was easier to attract investors. That was not really our journey, to be honest with you. The XAI was actually originally created because we were trying to solve our own problem. If you look back like 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago, when we were building out our games and we were looking to put our games on chain, we experienced a lot of like onboarding user friction at that time. A lot of issues with chains that were struggling with downtime, latency with games. And if you're a gamer and you have such a difficult time just getting into the game, that's a problem. Yeah. If you are playing a game and your character is stuttering because there's latency, you're not going to play that game. Or if you're in a situation, where you're playing the game and the network just goes down, that's not a good user experience. And so after a lot of frustration, back then, our co-founder, Sobi, is super deep into the crypto space. And, he was actually complaining to one of his buddies. And his buddies are actually, because he was one of the original investors in Arbitrum, they said, hey, man, like if you, are not finding what you need out there, why don't we build it together? And and I think sometimes the world's greatest technologies typically come from trying to solve your own problems because you intimately understand the problem that you're facing. They said, look, obviously we were primarily known for DeFi, but we're piloting some new technology right now that would be a layer 3. The gas costs are almost non-existent on a layer 3. We would like to optimize it towards a specific consumer use case. We think gaming would be a killer use case. That's your guys' domain expertise. So let's build this thing. And we said, bet, let's go for it. So once the XAI blockchain testnet came out and we validated that this actually works way better than expected, VC money came flooding in. We also did a node sale that, went bananas and were able to give us a large injection of capital. And then we decided to, hey, let's grow this out into a full-fledged ecosystem. Not only can we put our own games on this chain, but we can also support other games on the chain. And we wanted to really focus on the user experience, just making sure that it's really easy to get into the games, play the games, and make sure that we're basically attracting mainstream gamers to these games. In addition to obviously some of the crypto natives, but you did talk a little bit about we've seen so many different evolutions of gaming with the game. Web3 gaming is
Web3,
there was the play to earn, right? Then it was the play to airdrop, P2A meta. We've seen obviously some people kind of incorporate them in meme coins, into their games. And a lot of these things have just been kind of short-lived. The play to earn thing really only hits when there's a bull market and primarily hits in third world countries.
People thought that was going to last forever. On the last, longer than I expected, honestly. And everybody had a blast with it while it was here. But yeah, like you said, it was very bull market oriented. As soon as the market started, going a little sideways, everybody just kind of got bored of that, and they didn't see the long-term viability, and the whole narrative just kind of dropped away. It still exists. It's just the popularity is gone. It disappeared.
Exactly. What happened after that is people did take the signal that came out of that as hey, this is how we should build the tokenomics model, and our games should be as close to Axie as possible. And that there was only been one Axie. I don't think there's going to there could be a resurgence and maybe another super crazy bull market, but when is that going to be? And is that a sustainable business model, completely relying on just crypto market cycles for your project to be successful? I don't know. I don't think so.
Doesn't sound very sustainable.
Yeah, likewise with, crypto is really good at providing incentives. So that I do agree with. I think people just need to crack the code on how the distribution of these incentives work for it to really make sense. And I also think that, so I think that's kind of what led to the play to airdrop incentive model. But what was found with that is that it really leads to a lot of tourists. It leads to a lot of people that are essentially grinding or farming, these tokens. And it's not just exclusive to games. It happens with ecosystems, protocols. You see it across the board. But what happens? People spend hours and hours, grinding, doing these quests or tasks so they can be eligible for an airdrop. And then when that happens, once they have that, they're out. They go to the next protocol, the next game, the next app. And so it's not a sustainable model to keep people consistently engaged.
Agreed. So I guess let me jump into this question in terms of the problem that you're trying to solve, right? So bringing games on chain, that was your first. One thing that I love that you said, and I say this as often as I can to people building projects, is don't create a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. Don't create a solution looking for a problem. You will find problems. I've done this at conferences with people that just want to get into Web3 for the first time. And I'm like, hey, look at the problems in your industry and what you've learned and what you do, and see how you can solve those problems. And if blockchain can be a potential tool in your tool belt to solve it, then implement that as part of your solution. And that's really what I live by in this industry. And I really like the fact that that's the mentality that you had. Was we found a problem in our business where we wanted to build games on chain, and we couldn't find a place to do that it worked as we needed it to. So when you say you wanted to put games on chain, what is like the benefit in your mind, at least, for putting games fully on chain? Is it just about security, transparency, assets? Like what is like the most important part of wanting to put games on chain? How does that bring value for you?
Yeah, I think initially, being someone that has played video games for over 25 years, myself, I know that there's been so many different times where, you get into a game, you level up your character all the way, and then you're like, now what?
Yeah.
You know, I guess I just either start a new character or I just quit that game and play a new game. But having the ability to be able to buy, sell, trade, some of these items or these characters as a whole, I mean, that's been a gray market. That's been a gray market that's been around for a really long time. But if the games find out that you're doing that, you get banned.
Yeah.
They kick you out.
People are selling stuff on eBay. Like I'm talking about like
Yes.
10 years ago, people were selling characters and
Yes.
assets and stuff. So, yeah.
So the market's already there, now is everybody doing that? No, of course, but there are going to be some people that would like to do that. Some people, sure, they just like to have fun and try out new games, but there's going to be an entire segment of users that's like, hey, I want to figure out different ways, the things that I've actually been able to achieve in these games, I can actually benefit in this in some other way. I can feel the ownership of this, like buy it, sell, trade it. Like if I like this shirt, I actually own it. We have the illusion of ownership right now in games. Like when I really own this shirt, like I could just give this to my friend. I can sell it, I can shred, I can do whatever I want with it. That's not really the case with anything that you have in traditional games right now. So that was certainly, one thing. I think there's, a lot of other things that still haven't totally come to fruition that I think are kind of like further down the road with like interoperability, where, like, for example, there's a new Assassin's Creed game that just came out, right?
Yeah.
And, I've played all the other Assassin's Creed games, Valhalla, was the most Origins. And, I would like to have something maybe where the stuff that I had in that game, like I can maybe like melt that down into like a cool suit of armor in the new game, or some aspect of my character is being recognized in the new game. So I would like to see more of progression on that front. So I think that's so I think that could be super interesting. I do think we're also going to see a lot more with AI and UGC content, which I think could be incredibly interesting. But the other thing is like Web3. One thing that I've noticed being in Web3 since 2017 is it's been pretty good for community building. It's been really good for kind of solving the start problem, because Web3 is unique in the sense that they like to give feedback, they like to feel involved because of the ownership aspect. They want to see the project win. So
like
there's some alignment there
a little bit, right? Like you want it to succeed because you enjoy it and you want to be a part of this.
Yeah, you feel like there's some ownership there that you don't normally have. Sometimes, like you'll see a game launch right now that doesn't do that in the traditional video game industry, and either people will love the game, the trailer that comes out that's hyped. I mean, you saw with Marathon, for example, the Marathon trailer just came out, and either you loved it or you hated it. Either you're like, oh, this is going to be the next big thing, or you totally crap on it on social media. And it's like, oh, this sucks.
Dude, I'm seeing that with Grand Theft Auto right now. Like I never thought I'd hear negative reviews of Grand Theft Auto coming out, or people are just complaining about the price at this point. Like there's always like a polarized aspect to social media, and that's very, very true when it comes to games.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I think you're just going to see a lot of new ways that we can incorporate, different technologies within the Web3 space. But I do think we do have fundamentally one problem that I've seen in the Web3 gaming industry, and that is we've been trying to talk to gamers by leading with tech jargon and buzzwords instead of the things that they actually care about. If I think back of the things that have ever made me want to play a video game before, it's always been because all my friends are playing it and I wanted to feel like part of a crew that I could bond with, right? Talk crap to a little bit even. Or maybe it was a scenario I saw a streamer play a game that showcased something that was like really funny or entertaining, or like a cool mechanic within the game that I hadn't seen before, something with the core game loop.
Something novel. Yeah.
No, or maybe like the game was critically acclaimed by, like Rock Paper Shotgun or PC Gamer Mag or something, or IGN or whatever, like everyone's saying this is the game of the year. I'm like, oh, maybe I should try
Yeah.
this game. Like, or the last thing would be is like, maybe I just want to like relax and escape for a little bit on my own. Feel like I'm progressing in the game with like achievements or other things like that. And that is interesting, to me. And so I think we need to go back to that, like zoom out and go back to what, like not reinventing the wheel and not like shoving like crypto jargon in people's faces and providing them a reason to engage. And I do think crypto is good at incentives. And so that's basically what's led us on the journey to create, Rygen.gg right now, where it's not a launcher. It's literally just a website. You log in by syncing your Steam account. When you do that, it's automatically taking a look at your Steam library, seeing all the achievements that you have in games that you've played before, and giving you play passes so you can enter contests. The contests allow you to play games that you haven't already played before or gotten achievements on, and earn points that you can redeem for IRL prizes. And I think IRL prizes is the key, and achievement playing games and just earning achievements is the key, because people already like playing games. They like feeling like they're progressing. Right now, currently, achievements are worthless, but with Rygen.gg, they're not. You can turn those achievements, you can turn that gameplay, that dedication into IRL prizes like gift cards from Nike, Xbox, Amazon, all these different, vendors. And what we found is that streamers even like this, because streamers have this thing where they like playing games and they want to get as many views as possible playing good games. And they do have an issue sometimes with getting conversion, getting people to go from being a passive.
People will watch. Yeah.
Yeah. To actually playing the game, purchasing the game, retaining these gamers within the game. And with this product now, not only this is encourage people to play the game because they know they can earn achievements, but now they're seeing like, oh, if I get these achievements, it'll cover the cost of the game in some cases, and even the chance to get even more than that. So they're doing the moon math. These gamers are doing the moon math, and they're like, it's a no-brainer for them to participate in the platform. So that's what we're really excited about, because every single game needs players. And if you don't have players, you don't have revenue. And if you don't have revenue, you don't have a business.
You don't have a game. Yeah,
exactly.
It doesn't go very smart. Dude, that's actually really cool. You already technically answered what my next question was going to be, because you mentioned trying to attract, larger game studios, more popular games into blockchain, and to be able to use this technology. And my question was going to be, well, what benefit do they have? And I think you just kind of answered that, right? In a lot of their promotional channels, using streamers and showing people how much fun this game could be, that doesn't necessarily convert. And people are still looking at the price tags. Like that's another thing I mentioned just in passing, is a lot of these new Switch games, the new Grand Theft Auto, all these new like things that I'm reading, is like 50% is excited about what's coming. The other 50% is just worried about the cost, because the costs continuously go up. Exactly. Like I remember $50 games, $60 games, $75, $79, $89, $99. Now they're over $100. Like they just constantly going up. And like, I know it takes a lot of work, right? Like building these open world maps and building all of this new functionality. Even like the graphics qualities have obviously continue to improve. Like this stuff isn't easy or fast to make. So you're going to have to recoup the cost, but it's really hard for the consumer, especially, we're going through a lot of different economic times in different places. So not everybody necessarily has the freedom of being able to spend over $100 on a video game. Even if it's something to them, it's like, it brings me some peace of mind. I can kind of escape for a little while, but then you start thinking about how much it's going to end up costing you, and there's no way to recoup that. It gets a little stressful too, right? Like I'm not trying to get in a fight with my wife because I spent $110 on a video game.
Yeah.
Like if I'm like, yo, I just got a $20 gift card because I've been playing this for a couple hours. I got these, normally just on my phone, I get a little Xbox achievement Like that,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean anything. It's like, oh, okay, cool. But like, that doesn't get me anywhere. If I can see that and be like, ooh, I just earned me a couple of bucks. Like, let me
Yep.
continue to play this and relax and enjoy my time while potentially maybe even earning some on the side. Like, that's a really good way to promote a product. It's a really good way to get sticky consumers and users that want to continue playing your game, because they're also benefiting a little bit in multiple ways, from enjoying their time, number one, the most important thing, but two, maybe even being able to earn some rewards and being able to make this a two-way street and not just a one-way consumer street.
100%. And we're going to also like experiment with like a lot of different contest types we really want to encourage discoverability with the platform. Right now, for example, we've been doing a lot of like 7-day contests for games that are just really hot right now on Steam. So like Schedule 1 is a game that's gotten super hot recently. We did a contest, for that. We also like to target games that have really active communities to populate the website. So Warframe is another one that we just announced a contest on. That's been around for a while. That's a free to play game, so you don't even have to buy that game. You can go play that on our platform right now, because the purpose for us is, we want to grow the platform to have hundreds of thousands of players, traditional mainstream gamers, and once we have a lot of traditional mainstream gamers on the platform, we can slowly introduce them to some additional like Web 2.5 or Web 3 games down the road, and say, hey, I noticed that you played Hades 2. You're a top ranked player in that game. Maybe you should try Riftstorm next week. You can earn 3 times the points in that game. And so we already know the player preference on like the genre that they like. We have a game that's similar. Why would they not give this other game a shot? And it doesn't matter what kind of game it is right now. They all want players right now, and I think we're really great at providing a unique distribution of incentives that I think will hit. We also are providing every single month. We're doing a $50,000 credit, which is 1 credit is equal to $1 right now. So $50,000 up for grabs for playing top games on Steam right now that are good games that people probably want to actually play. Some may already be playing some of these games, and it's kind of a win-win scenario for some of these publishers and these game developers that are all looking for new creative ways to attract attention. And for a limited time, we are providing the incentives for this platform, which is actually rather unique and a little bit crazy.
Yeah, a little bit.
There's people that have tried building a platform like this in the past, but they don't generally have the experience to build a platform like this. Our CEO has built a platform that has some similarities, but that was more mobile focused in the past, and this is now more PC focused. So he has successfully exited a company that he's done well there. And I myself came previously from DraftKings, where I was working with the NFL, PA, the UFC, the PGA Tour, working on gamified leaderboard experiences for our daily fantasy sports Web3 product. So I have a pretty good idea of what we're doing. I mean, I was handling like $30 million budgets for each of those leagues. Wow. So I know kind of like what levers, you want to start pushing and pulling, because generally what happens is when you create a product like this, you either have people that have a little bit of money but a lot of time, or you have people that have a lot of money but a little time. So you have to kind of cater the platform to different groups, and we're going to keep evolving this platform to add a lot of really cool features. So,
dude, that is awesome. So I guess we're hitting towards our time limit, so I want to make sure I don't keep you on for too long. Just want to touch base on the idea that started all of this, right? Was we want to bring gaming into Web3 in a way that actually builds value. So, and Zai, I believe last time we talked, you said Zai was the first chain on Arbitrum, the first layer 2 on Arbitrum?
Layer 3.
Layer 3 on Arbitrum. Okay. Yep. So how does, Arbitrum is itself a layer 2 network. So it would be anything on top.
1 layer above, yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And so you guys basically pioneered, obviously building layer threes and actually utilizing them. Like you basically have an industry covered of gaming, and it's still secured by Ethereum. Like it's all built on top of one of the most notable and widely used blockchains in history. You guys found a provider that is able to help scale that, and you utilize that to bring what you find actual value in, which is making gaming more accessible, bringing value, the value of what people invest into games, whether it's time, whether it's their money, and helping them kind of get some pieces of that back out or take it with them, right? Like along their journey. So really contributing to keeping gamers within the realm that they enjoy, which is like just playing the games that are fun, while also adding little bits of value on top of that. And so far, I see a crazy progression from, like, I think you mentioned, right, play to earn games, play to airdrop games. And now it's like you're rewarding more for people's skill sets and for their actual time, as opposed to just like, I don't want to say pointless rewards, but that's kind of what it's felt like in the past, is just like you play whatever gives you the most rewards. It's not really about your preference or your enjoyment. It's just about like farming. So in your future vision for XAI games, for Ex Populus, for gaming in Web3, like within the next 5 years, how do you really see Web3 and gaming joining themselves at the hip and taking, like, breaking down the barriers of entry for gamers that really want to join Web3 in terms of being able to retain that value, maybe be able to get something back out of it? What's the big shift that you see happening in the next 5 years in terms of gaming in Web3, however you see that?
I think that what's going to happen is you're going to start seeing a merging of these two worlds, and I think it's going to start happening as early as this year. I think you're probably going to start seeing the moniker of Web3 gaming start going by the website, by the wayside. Because if you talk to a traditional gamer and you say crypto or Web3, they either look at you like you're crazy, or it's a negative. Like it says. So you have to be able to meet gamers where they're at in traditional mainstream channels and speak to them in their language. So where are gamers at right now? They're on Twitch, they're on YouTube, they're on TikTok, they're on Instagram, they're on Reddit. We have a big concerted focus between ourselves on our side, with Ex Populus, with XAI, even on the Arbitrum overall ecosystem on the gaming side, to meet gamers where they're at and also start speaking their language. And this is actually a lesson that I had to learn as well when I was at DraftKings, because we developed that product. Those daily fantasy sports Web3 products were catered towards normies, mainstream, people that were sports lovers. There is a user base of 8 million players on the DraftKings website, and most of these guys were not crypto natives, but they were sports fanatics that liked iGaming and a little gambling and betting, wagering and things like that. And so, initially we called them NFTs. We had packs. We called them NFTs. We had to change it to digital collectibles, and all of a sudden it was palatable. We had another thing where we introduced something called the crafted bird, a crafted bird mechanism, where you could burn these cards and you would get a new output. Everyone was like, burning, like what does this even mean? Like, crafting they could kind of get behind, but the burning thing meant nothing to them. And so we had to change that terminology to trading card portal. And they're like, oh yeah, this totally makes sense. I just put these in there and this new thing comes out, so you go through these things where sometimes we get so caught up being in the echo chamber of crypto Twitter, that you lose sight of who are we? People always talk about we're going to onboard the next billion users. How many users do you think are in crypto? There's definitely, and if that onboarding,
you get into those statistics, dude.
and if you're exclusively talking about Web3 gaming, that is a niche within a niche, that's an even smaller pond. So what you have is you have all these Web3 games that are fighting over, all the fish in this really small pond. And so I don't see that being a sustainable strategy. Like, you really need to go after mainstream gamers. And I think the Web3 side of things is, like, I think great for community building, great for solving the cold start problem. I think the unique benefits of the blockchain can still be there with buy, sell, trade, this interoperability stuff. But I think you have to start with the gameplay first. You have to start with the things that a gamer will care about, and then the rest will take care of itself over time if you position things, message things the right way.
Nice. I mean, honestly, dude, so far it feels like you guys are really headed in the right path. One of the hardest things, I think, when we talk about onboarding the next billion users or whatever insane number you want to throw out there, is the onboarding process, right? Like you said, we have a fairly, I still consider it a very small community of users in Web3 overall. And then when you, like you said, a niche within a niche, like gamers in Web3 or Web3 gaming enthusiasts specifically, we have a lot of gamers that also are in Web3, but that doesn't necessarily equate to gamers playing Web3 games, right? Like, I'm a gamer, you're a gamer. There's millions of us that love gaming, and a lot of us also engage in crypto and various blockchain things and different protocols, different chains, and do different things. But like, I did Axie for a little while. I had a team of people playing for me. I made a little bit of money on it, but it wasn't like I enjoyed the process of playing that game. Right. I was still on Xbox while other people were playing Axie. And so, like, I think you guys have done a really great job of breaking down that barrier to entry, where like you're exposing people to the potential value prop, the benefits of adding blockchain into it, whether it's for tracking and rewarding, for owning your assets, without making them really go through hurdles of downloading a new wallet or playing a game, like you said, that's like super glitchy and slow to respond because you got to wait for this like block to process with this transaction of what your character just bought. Like, that's just not a good experience. And so you guys are really like helping bring people on board into how blockchain can make gaming a little bit better in different ways. And then over time, it feels like it's going to expand into like actual truly on-chain games, because that side is also growing and innovating every day, right? Like, we've got faster and faster processing times, better and better hardware and software that's going into actually building and operating these blockchains. And so I see a future where we do have fully 100% on-chain AAA quality games, but like, that's not here today. Right now, we need to really put that value prop in front of traditional gamers and give them an easy way to incorporate Web3 in their experience without causing it to be a burden on them. Which, it feels like you guys are already well on that path, whether it's from the gaming side of Ex Populus or from the infrastructure side of XAI Games or from the partnership side of, working with, I don't know if you work directly with Steam, but being able to incorporate like the Steam gaming records of users and being able to reward them on that. It's just you're abstracting all of the complexity away, all of the pains you're already abstracting away, and I'm really excited to see where that leads. But like, I expect great things from you and your team on this.
No, I appreciate it. And like I said, not only are we looking to solve this, for ourselves, but we also have about a dozen games that are going to be, launching before the end of this year. Ideally, assuming developer timelines don't get too crazy, right?
No, they all stick to the timelines, dude. I don't know what you're talking about.
But we want to give these games all the tools that they need to be successful. We want to drive, as many players to these games, as we can. We already have several games, some that are out, some that are coming out. For example, Lost Glitches, Riftstorm, X, Talon Survivors, like your My Angry Yakuza Girlfriend. There's all these different games that are going to be out over the next little bit. And we just want to, make sure that we're giving them all the tools to succeed. Even on the account abstraction stuff, we work with really great partners like Third Web and Sequence that have, SDKs for Unity and Unreal and mobile to any type of game that wants to come on chain and be on XAI, has all the tools that they need to be successful.
Dude, that is awesome, man. I genuinely just want to thank you for taking the time to talk with me about all of this. Before we leave, I do want to make sure we tell the audience where they can find Xi Games, Rygen, like all of the stuff where they can actually get involved, get engaged,
Sure.
sign up and explore. Can you just share really short, really quickly, where can people find you? Where can people go experience some of this on-chain gaming?
Yeah, absolutely. Our website is Xi.games. So that's if you want to check out like the portfolio of games that we have, some of the different programs and tools that we have available. You can check that out there. For this new platform that we literally just soft launched during GDC, that's already getting a lot of momentum. It's Raijin.gg, and that's RAIJIN.gg. Like I said, all you need to do is sync your Steam account, and you'll be able to play some games, earn some achievements, and get some IRL, rewards. So overall, I would say those are probably the best, places. Or feel free to also ping me on Twitter. I'm a big DGen, so at Rare Breeds NFT, you're more than welcome to follow me, and I'll be happy to chat with you.
Dude, awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. This was a great conversation, very enlightening. We'll always have the door open if you ever want to come back and chat some more. And dude, hopefully I run into you IRL at a conference pretty soon, and we can sit down and grab a drink together.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be around.
Cool. Awesome. EJ, thanks again. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for talking to us about Xi Games, about Ex Populus. I'm actually going to dive down this rabbit hole. I'm going to go sign up for Rygen right now and start exploring. So thank you again, and I will talk to you soon, sir.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks.